Hello, fellow educators. Today, I want to go over something that I get asked a lot about to help with some of the teachers at my school, and that is Google Forms. We typically use Google Forms for a lot of assignments, especially formative assessments, because it can be done very quickly and easily if your school is one-to-one. So first thing I'd like to do is kind of show you where to find Google Forms, and that's over here in the Google apps. Click on it, and we're going to scroll down a little bit, and it's right here in the second area, second section of this. So when you click that, it'll take you to your forms that go to your drive. One of the big benefits of forms is it's very flexible. You can create a lot of different types of assignments into a form. It is 100% free, and it goes directly into your class's grade book. You can set it to go directly into the gradebook for whatever class you are making it in. So we're going to go ahead, and this is what it looks like once you click on it and start a new form. Typically you'll have your questions and responses area, which we'll get into very soon. But you can change, you can add options in that, but these don't need to just be multiple choice. That's kind of a common misconception that I run into, and I'm explaining this to people. There is a drop down where you can have short answer paragraphs, so you can get some more in-depth answers. But then again, for quick knowledge checks, you can do the multiple choice check boxes, drop down box with preset answers. And then you can get into the linear scale, multiple choice grid, and checkbox grid, which is a little more in depth, but we're just kind of going over the basics right now. And I typically do stick mostly to the short answer paragraph and multiple choice. This makes some quick knowledge checks and checks of understanding very easy, and it compiles the responses so you can I can see student understanding very easily in a organized manner after giving the assessment really quickly. I mean, almost between periods. So let me I made up a sample one here for us to take a look at. So with this form, of course, you can have directions at the top. I always like to lead off and have the first section be name and class period. I do teach multiple sections of the same class, so class period is clutch if I am compiling everything into under one assignment. So I do make the class period mandatory. That's that little star. That is a checkbox when we go into this required. You just hit this slider and it becomes a required question. So let's go down. I've got my vocab section, which is all the short answer type. So when I made this, I changed this to short answer. The drop down here, the same one that we saw on the last page. You can assign an answer key if you would like with open-ended. I don't do that. I grade them manually. But you can assign a point value, which is very, very important. Of course, next section, students go on to a short answer. This is the long form answer. This is more the paragraph answer, but also very, you can, if you would like, do an answer key. Very difficult for long answer, not efficient at all. The answer key is very helpful with multiple choice, but in a form like I'm doing here where everything's open-ended, you can just easily hand grade it, which I'll show you in just a moment. As you're making this, it's very easy. If you're keeping the same point values, you can hit duplicate to go to the next question, change the answer. Of course, you can easily delete. And you can actually add photos in if you want to do ask a question about a political cartoon, a photo of some type, a math problem, things like that, and then allow students to type in underneath. So students then submit, and after they submit, they don't have to email it, they don't have to hand you a paper copy, it just compiles into the responses here. If you have an answer key, the grading will already be done for you based on the scale here. You can kind of see where your class shakes out with the average, median, and range, which is very handy. It helps you make some database decisions. But the as you're going through this, you can either grade by the question. So it'll go through each question and it will have their responses as we go through. Okay, if I like this answer, if Renaissance, Rebirth, if that's okay, I'm going to check it. That gives them full credit, or no, they didn't get any credit for it, they were wrong, or I can do any bit in between if I would like. And then once I get done with that, move on to the next. That will tell me, it won't let me leave without saving my answers, so I can stay. After I change an answer, or after I assign a point value, this box will come up at the bottom, edits are pending. I can save them, and then it will allow me to move on to the next question. If I don't want to do, this is handy for answering. You can answer one question at a time. You can keep focused on that question as you read through student answers. It's very handy. But if I want to go through each individual student's work, then I can go to individual. So instead, now I'm getting my first response. Of course, I only have the one because I did a quick answering of this, and I can go through each individual answer. This is where it's very handy to have the name at the top, because as I'm going through this, if a student has a question about a specific answer, it will kick it back to them, but the name that comes up at the top is our school email address, and that's usually the settings that school administrators put in, or if you're doing this on your own without it being part of the school network, you will get some wild emails that maybe don't necessarily apply to you don't really know who's doing it. So having that simple start with the name is very, very, very beneficial. But as I go through, I can grade each student's work. Of course, I didn't have a answer key in, so these are all checked as wrong unless I check them differently. So I can go through each individual answer, and I can assess the student's work. So that's just a quick, very brief overview of Google Forms and how it can help you in the classroom. I have found it to be extremely handy. Teachers at my school have found it to be amazing for both in-depth assignments and for formative assessments. So if you have any other ideas for using Google Forms, or any other tips for people, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. But until next time, thank you for watching. Hopefully you found this informative, and I will talk to you again very soon.